The 417 Gamers are a group of board, card, and tabletop gamers in the 417 area code. This is the podcast. Welcome to the 417 Gamer Podcast, Episode 4, Expansion Material. Andrea and I get together and we discuss Scout. We do a little review of this ladder-climbing, trick-taking game from Oink Games. What did we think of it? What did it score? Listen ahead to find out. And then Ben joins us again for our top 8 through 14 games that we liked in 2022. What was 8? What was 14? You'll have to listen to find out. And let's get on with Episode 4, Expansion of the 417 Gamer Podcast. Scout, designed by Kai Kangino, published by Oink Games. The MSRP on Scout is $23 according to Miniature Market. The game overview for Oink's website. You have suddenly been appointed as the leader of a circus. Using the members of your circus, you must put together a show that will beat out your rivals. Everyone on your team has a specific role. To fill in the gaps on your team, you may scout members away from rival circus groups. With the addition of just one person, you may set off an incredible chain reaction that helps create a show that no other circus can surpass. Will you battle with your current members, or will you wait it out and try and recruit different ones? You will feel amazing when you make the right choices in this speedy card game. Scout is a ladder-climbing trick-taking game where cards have 2-point potential values. When you are dealt your hand, you can decide to play them right side up or upside down. There are numbers on both sides. You may not rearrange the cards in your hand. Whenever you play cards, they must be adjacent to each other, and you can play either sets or runs. Runs must be in sequential order. So 1, 2, 3 is fine, but 1, 3, 2 is not. Once on your turn, you may scout or show. When you show, you play cards from your hand, and that has been your circus performance. Then the next player may either follow and show. They must play better than your hand. Either playing better numerical values than you did, or more cards. A set always beats a run. So if you have a pair of ones, that will beat an 8-9 run. If somebody plays a show better than your hand, they take your cards as points face down. However, if you can not or do not want to show better than them, you can scout one card. You may take a card on either end of their, basically the hand they laid out, and they get $1 from the bank for being scouted from. Mm-hmm. You keep on playing until one of two things. Either one player has played out all their cards, or nobody else was able to show by the time it gets back to that player's hand. Then that round is over. Mm-hmm. Scored up, and you play a number of rounds equal to the number of players. So, Andrea, you and I have been playing some Scout lately. Mm-hmm. And I would say we quite like it. We're looking at the way we grade these games. We've got a little rubric. We've got presentation, components, gameplay, theme, and then it factor. How much how much we really like the game.
Right.
Presentation, we're looking at box art and table presence. Mm-hmm. When you look at Scout, does the box really grab you?
Not really. I mean, it just looks like any of our card games. I mean, there's nothing on there specifically artistically inviting. I mean, it looks like a card game. It is a card game. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say that I would be walking by it on the shelf and be like, ooh, what's that?
Yeah. The only thing that this has on the box, and that's for deep gamers, it's got the Spiel des Jahres nominee. It's got that little pond, the little red pond that says Spiel des Jahres. So Spiel des Jahres, for those that don't know, is the annual game awards in Germany. You have Kinderspiel, you have Spiel des Jahres, and then Kennerspiel. Spiel des Jahres is the game of the year. And those are usually kind of family weight. So Splendor was nominated one year. It lost out to Camel Up. Settlers of Catan is one. Mm-hmm. So you have tons of games. The Kennerspiel is the connoisseur's game. That's Ark Nova was kind of suggested and nominated last year. Dune Imperium was nominated for that game. Cryptid was nominated. And then you have Kinderspiel. Ghost Fightin' Treasure Hunters was one of those Kinderspiel games. I think there's a Spiderella game. There's a lot of kids games. So if you're looking for kid-friendly games like 8 and under, look for the Kinderspiel games. This was nominated for Kinderspiel, and it's got the little pawn on there. So if you're a deep gamer, your eyes will be drawn to that little pawn and be like, okay, that's something to look for. Otherwise, you are absolutely right. This is a little box that's got a red top, blue bottom to it, and got a little tent in front. And without knowing much of it, you walk right by this. It doesn't really grab you. Mm-hmm. But I will say, the cards on the table, I really enjoy.
Yeah.
The colors really, really kind of splash. The names on the cards don't really mean a whole lot to you. It's funny because every card has a performer's name.
Yeah.
And they have 2 things that they can do for your circus. And I like that portion. But this is also a $23 card game. And I really kind of feel like Oink does this. Oink has these minimalistic card games. And they have some that are really, really great experiences. And then they have some that, not for me. Mm-hmm. I like it, but man, I can't really give it more on presentation than like a 3.
Yeah, I was going to say a 3 as well.
I feel like it could be better, but I don't think it's horrible.
Well, once you play the game, I don't think that it should be any more flashy. I mean, it does everything it's supposed to do, and I think if the cards were any busier, it might be harder to understand.
Possibly, yeah. I give you that. That brings us to components. The rulebook's pretty simple. It's a little fold-out, like pamphlet-style sheet of paper that it's small enough to fit in the box, and they've got like 3 language sets in there, 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. You have point tokens. You've got money tokens. They're already punched. You don't have to punch them out from the punch board, which is nice.
Yeah.
The card quality is pretty decent. I don't think I had too much trouble shuffling once I got them broke in.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of decks of cards. Once you get them broke in, they're fine.
Right.
I had a problem with the racing game that we played that we've played 4 or 5 times, and the cards are still tacky, and the solution to that is sleeving that game, but I'm not sure we're going to keep that game.
Right.
But this one, I thought the components were nice for the little card game. I am going to ding it because it's still a $23 game. I think out of that box, the cards could be a little bit nicer. The components are fine, but for a $23 game, if this was like a $15 game, I would put this at a 4. Mm-hmm. But since this is a $23 game, I'm giving it a 3.5.
Gosh, I think I'm going to give it just a 3.
Yeah.
Because the tokens are cardboard. They could be, plastic or little chits or something. Mm-hmm. So I'll just give it a 3.
The next one we're going to go with is gameplay. Mm-hmm. The gameplay is where this shines.
Yes.
You and I both come from families where we played trick-taking games. Mm-hmm. Hearts, spades, rook, euchre. And this really kind of hits the right things for me. Mm-hmm. It's easy to teach, it's fun to play, and it's one of those games when you're done, unless you got your butt paddled, most people are like, let's play that again. Especially if they didn't quite wrap their head around how the ladder climbing works until towards the end. They're like, now I get it. Yeah. I need to do it again. Right. Which I love. I love that gameplay where you're coming out of it and people are like, yeah, let's go again.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, when before we played it the first time, you were watching a game playthrough.
I was.
And I just came in the middle of it. I missed the teach and was just looking at the playthrough. And I had no idea what these people were doing. I mean, nothing they were doing made any sense to me at all. And I was like, this game looks hard. I don't think we should play this. But after we played it just once, it's really not that hard. Yeah. And I think it's a mid-weight family game. I mean, although, if you've never played Hearts or Spades or Rook, or Five Crowns, the first time you play it, you're like, wait, what's happening? So I guess it'd be with any game. But once you get it, like you said, it is fun. You want to go again. And I think it definitely, those classic games, I think this would give them a run for their money.
Right. And I like what you said there, midweight family game.
Yeah.
So if you go in the family genre, this is in the middle of that. This
Yeah.
isn't the ceiling like a Lords of Waterdeep would be. It's also not completely easy like a Carcassonne without the farmers would be. This is not dead simple. The strategy is there, and it's a little bit to wrap your head around, especially if you haven't played Trick Takers.
Right.
You know, this is definitely a generational thing, being Gen X and millennials. After millennials, I don't know a lot of them that played a whole lot of trick-taking games unless they played Hearts on their computers they grew up, and a lot of people didn't. They had better games.
Right.
So, trick-taking seems to kind of be one of those generational things. But as far as gameplay, this is one I think just plays really well. It's very clever designed that I played other ladder climbers, and it's got the Bonanza thing to where you can't reorder your cards, which I love.
Yeah.
It's that restriction that makes you think outside the box on how to make your hand work for you.
Yes.
For me, it's a 4.5.
Yeah. I would give it a 4.5 as well, just because we don't have enough of this level game, I think, out there.
Yeah.
Because we need more of this level of game. For us, especially with new people coming into the gamer group, and with our family being lighter games. So this is just really hits that sweet gosh, I'm so sorry, listeners. Sweet spot for what we have been looking for in our games, for people who are burnt out on Hearts and Spades and, you know, who want to play something different. And gosh, we've played it with several of our heavy gamer groups, and they liked it too. And that's really saying something to keep them engaged and keep them thinking, instead of getting, you know, bored. This is a simple card game.
Absolutely great as a icebreaker or a palate cleanser at the end of a game night. You know, everybody's about ready to go, but you got about 30 minutes before store closes, or you're like, you know, one more round. This is great. This plays 3 to 5. Or it might play 2 to 5, but I know it plays up to 5. And 4 and 5, it plays really well for my taste. 3 is okay.
Yeah, I don't think 3's enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it and you'd still enjoy it. But a bigger group is definitely preferred.
3 feels like you're just getting a taste of what the game can do.
Yeah.
4 and 5, you're like, all right, this is good. That brings us to theme. The theme is you're a circus. You know, you're the head of a circus. You're recruiting people. You're putting on a show. The theme is absolutely. You could do this just about anything. You just. I mean, you can put beans. You can put beans in a row, and you need to get them played out, and you get making the best bean farm again.
Yeah.
That this theme is absolutely pasted on. I like the theme for what it does. It's cute, and I can get into it and be like, yeah, Xavier's on the trampoline again. Well, you can do better than Xavier. And I'm like, well, I've got Lola and Zola out there, and one's drumming, and the other one's juggling.
Right.
It's fun. I can interject more theme than what the game puts on there, but the game itself, the theme is just eh.
It's just there. It doesn't really affect the gameplay.
So for me, I'm kind of poo-poo on this one. I'm gonna put 2.75. I want to put a 3, but I just can't get myself to do it.
Oh, I'll give it a 3. I mean, I think it would be lacking if there wasn't something besides just the numbers to it.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's all you need is the numbers. But yeah, they tried. I give them a 3.
Yeah. That brings us to It Factor. It Factor is how much you want to play this game. This is a thing that if we look back at these reviews here in a year, we can go back to look at it and say, is that It Factor still where it is? Or has it cooled? Did we like it so much because it was the new and shiny, or not? Or at the same time, where we did it raise? Where we, in the 3-4 range, and then now this is one of our favorite games.
Yeah.
And this is the new shiny, and I'm absolutely enjoying this. This does something similar that Bonanza does, where you can't reorder your hand. I love the idea of being able to flip your hand at the very start, because the numbers are on both sides of the cards. You have a card that might be a 9 on...
Different numbers on each.
Yep, because that's the 2 occupations that person can do in your circus. But once you decide which way to play your hand, it's locked there. The only way to change anything is to scout from other players, give them $1 from the bank, you take one of their cards, And you decide when you take that card which way you're going to play it. You can either keep it where they had it, or you can flip it upside down to its other value, and you decide where in your hand it goes.
Right. And it can make a big difference.
I absolutely adore this game right now. It is my hotness. I will play it. I mean, I would have played another hand last night when we played with Alan and Sarah.
Yeah.
For that, and for a little card game that I'm that hot on, this is a 5 for me.
Oh, wow. A 5.
Yeah.
Gosh. That for you is high praise.
I mean, I'll probably run it into the ground until I cool it down a little bit. But right now, my it factor is a 5. I love this game.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I do enjoy it, and I would play it again. I would say for me, its strongest keeping point is that I think that every time we're going out, it's small. Anybody can play it, throw it in the bag. No matter where we're going, no matter who we see, throw it in the bag. It's going to be one of our staples.
Yeah.
So for that, I give it bravo.
Fair enough. The way we do our scores, we score 1 to 5 in the various categories: presentation, components, gameplay, theme, and it factor. We add that up, multiply by 4, and get our score. Andrea, your score for Scout is a 72.
Just a C.
And mine's a 75.
2 C's.
Yeah. You're thinking of as letter grade, and I don't think of it that anymore. I've been playing games for long enough and seen the Board Game Geeks.
Right.
When I see something in the 60s, I'm looking at it. But once I see a 7 and above, a 70 and above, I'm like, that's a game I need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Especially if it's got mechanics I like. And I'm more of a mechanics-based gamer. And for you, a theme. If you see something that's in the theme you like and it says 7 above, keep your eye on it.
Yeah.
One game that's got in the 7 range that we reviewed last month is Savannah Park. They have a sequel coming up called Caldera Park.
Yes.
And I showed you that because I can't buy
North
games.
American animals.
Yeah. Because last episode we talked about our New Year's resolutions, and I can't buy any games besides the ones we pre-ordered until I get my unplayed list down to single digits. But that doesn't mean you can't buy games.
Oh.
So Caldera Park, whenever it hits, and I'm hoping Capstone Games picks it up for their family game line since they had Savannah Park.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to combine a little bit of Savannah Park with Cascadia, because it looks like you're taking tiles and you're taking animals and putting them in your park. Looks interesting. But coming back to Scout, we both enjoyed it. I'm at a 75. You're at a 72. I don't look at them as C's. We're just looking at the board game grade. I think those are solid games. If you like clever card games, I think you owe it to yourself. I know the MSRP is a little pricey, but we're also coming out of Christmas, and maybe you got some gift cards or a little bit of Christmas cash that you got.
Oh, and I think we've definitely gotten $25 worth of play out of it, already, and we've only had it a month.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. So that's our review of Scout. Thanks for listening, and we'll hit you on the next side.
Goodbye.
Hey guys, MoonCityCon 2023 is coming up. Tickets are going to go on sale January 15th. The event will take place June 9th, 10th, and 11th at the Hilton Garden Inn Hotel on the south side of Springfield. MoonCityCon 2023 is Springfield's premier board gaming convention. We'll see you there at MoonCityCon 2023.
We'll break that seal, I guess.
Yeah. So expansion content in the previous episode 4, we talked about our favorite games of 2022. We only did the top 7, and there were a lot of great games in 2022. There's a lot of games we missed.
Yes.
I said I missed Lacrimosa. I didn't get to play Batoku. There were a couple others on the radar here and there that I really should have played. I think, the Terra Mystica.
Oh, Terra Nova.
Terra Nova I should have played. Because I think maybe just a step down, so I could have played it with other people. That might have popped into the list, but...
Right. I mean, I'd play it with you. I didn't buy it just because I had...
You have Terra Mystica Big Box.
Yeah, I have Terra Mystica Big Box. But I did like the prospect of that they had new modes for 2-player, but I just felt like that wasn't enough selling point for me to just pick it up,
And then for Andrea, I really wish we would have gotten a play of Creature Comforts in. Because I think that would have been a theme and light enough worker placement that might have hit her list.
Yeah. I don't think there was any game that I missed out on that came out in 2022. Because I mean, you and I have talked. You've seen. I looked at my my BG stats. I played. I want to say it was like it's at least over 100 different games in the year of 2022.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly 101 games.
Hey.
Wow.
102 because there was some party games I didn't record from last night, but that's I'm hesitant to put those on sometimes, you know. Yeah, so like 100, over 100 different games. So I mean, I get around a lot, so I feel like a lot of what I wanted to play in 2022, I got to play.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play Weather Machine?
No, but I also got that late November because I got that one. It arrived while I was at BGGCon, so actually that was early November. So I hadn't played it yet because that one. There's some games you have to schedule with your friends, right? Because like I know I'm gonna have to schedule on Mars, and I'm much more prepared to teach on Mars than I am Weather Machine at the moment.
Sure.
But like we talked about earlier with my forced friends resolution, group resolution for 2022, somebody else did put Weather Machine on that list, and so we will. So the goal is to eventually get that played. Whoever teaches it doesn't really matter to me. But if it gets played right after On Mars, then I'm at least comfortable knowing that I only had to teach On Mars, and I could just sit back and learn Weather Machine.
Yeah.
So the other two games I really wish would have played, Wonderland's War and Tiletum. Tiletum is kind of a dry Euro, but sometimes, man, those dry Euros, if they play right, they just really tick the right boxes.
Everyone loves those T games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's and that's a game that pronunciation's going through the ringer is Tiletum or whatever. Yeah. Because it's a Latin word, I think. So yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go 14 through 8. I'm gonna start this one. 14 is Boop. This is Smirk and Dagger. I immediately sat Ben down and like, you want to play Boop? I booped his cats off the bed and I won.
Yeah, I didn't even stand a chance. I don't think I got any adult cats in that game.
You got one.
Yeah, right at the end.
Yeah.
when I lost.
But I used his adult cat to get my last adult cat. I'm like, hey, I got 3 kitties.
Yep.
It is in the vein of... it's an abstract strategy, basically. But you have a little fabric piece. You flip your box lid upside down, and you put the fabric piece, and you have kitties on a bed. You put a kitty down, but it displaces all cats that are adjacent to it.
It boops them.
It boops them, and it boops them away. But unless they're supported, if there's another kitty on the opposite side and you try, it doesn't go anywhere. If you can get 3 little kitties in a row, they go off the board, and you now have 3 big kitties you can now place. Big kitties can displace anything, but little kitties cannot displace a big kitty. First person to get 3 big kitties in a row wins. Very easy to teach, very hard to master, but I kind of wondered if this will go the way a lot of abstract strategies go, to where we play it and you kind of get that samey, everybody starts taking the same turns because... Yeah. So it's kind of low on my list, and it could rise or it could eventually just fall off to where it goes at the back of the shelf and we forget it's there forever. Which I hope it doesn't happen, but I kind of have some trepidation that it'll move too much. But Boop is at the back of my list so far. Andrea, you're number 14.
Well, before I go to my number 14, I have an honorable mention.
Oh, what's your honorable mention?
Actually, is the name of the game. We had one of our 417Gamers bring it to game night, and we actually have watched the show many times. For those of you who don't know, it's a YouTube show for nerds. It's kind of like a Jeopardy, but with nerd stuff. You know, you have to have all of your answers phrased correctly, and actually, the real answer is blah blah blah. So it's super cute. It's very nerdy, gamey. And they came out with a board game edition, and we played it, and we had a lot of fun. I wouldn't say it's a heavyweight game by any means.
No, it's a party game.
Yeah, it's a party game, and
I actually thought this one was going to make your list.
It gets an honorable mention.
Aww. Yeah. So what is your 14?
Number 14 is Wormholes.
Ooh.
It is, gosh, it's hard to describe. You've got little spaceships, and in order to teleport yourself from one side of the board to another, you have to go through the wormholes. You can place your own wormholes if you get close enough. I really like the mechanics of the game. You're shuttling stuff back and forth, kind of Planet Express style. I would like to take this game up a notch and have the pieces that come with the game are just fine, the little ships, but I want to
a little bit of ship token, but
yeah, we need real ships. We need the Enterprise, we need the Planet Express, we need a TIE fighter. Yeah,
tell AEG to start licensing that stuff. I'm
right,
sure they'll be on it quick.
Well, we have it pinged, or at least one of us has it pinged on their Facebook Marketplace whenever Micro Machines come up, because they have had Star Trek and Star Wars Micro Machines. So if we get a couple of those ships, put them in there.
Yeah.
And then I think I found a 3D print file for a little bitty Planet Express, and we've got tons of people that A, print, and B, paint. So if we can get that done, yeah.
I got a in regards to our 1 through 7. Craig, our friend Craig, took the plastic Poseidon statue for Age of Atlantis.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's going to paint that in a more marble style, which will look really good. But I do like the very ostentatious metal Poseidon statue.
Oh,
because,
it looks great.
Yeah, he looks amazing. He's huge, he's ripped, but he looks cool
that
on that
way
board.
Be blessed.
Yeah, exactly. and I can't wait to get that marble statue beside
Nice.
him. That'll be really cool.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, before your 14, do you have an honorable mention? You don't have to.
No, maybe I'll come back to it later.
All right.
I'll let you know in a moment. But
What's your 14?
So for my 14, this one kind of came out a little late in the year, and I just got my second play of it today. And that was Rise by Capstone, from Capstone Games. I do like my sort of dry themed, almost themeless games, because this one is certainly just tracks the game. The way I explained it to Rick earlier is that you have this card selection mechanism. You never actually take the cards, but the cards themselves have two actions on them. One's a free action, and one is a paid action that you can choose to take. And they all these actions correspond to one of 10 tracks out in your board. They're all double-sided cardboard boards. So you have like a couple thousand different ways to actually play and set up the game. And it just kind of, if you like setting up and making really smart combos, it's a really neat game to get into that. And it can play pretty quick, especially once you sort of know what you're trying to do. But I like the card action mechanism because depending on how far down the track, you can have other events happening to you, good or bad. But I don't know. It just hit this weird spot for me. It's like it's just dry, and I enjoy it, and you can get it done fairly quick once everyone knows what they're doing.
Nice.
Andrea, your number 13.
My number 13 is Ticket to Ride San Francisco. Ticket to Ride's come out with several little two-player. Is it a two-player?
Mm-hmm. It plays 2 to 4.
Okay.
But they're little bitty type maps.
Yeah, they're much. It's a smaller, reduced size from the big Ticket to Ride, and they have different cities. They've got London, San Francisco, New York, with the little maps which are accurate to the individual cities. So that makes it interesting for the geography. And I like how quick this plays.
Yeah.
It's just like maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah. If we want to play a quick game before we go to bed,
Yeah.
The snooze is on. Let's play a little game while we listen to the snooze.
Yeah.
Yeah, get a little Ticket to Ride. Because sometimes we are waiting to find out whether we need to scrape our windows in the morning. How many snoozes can we hit from the snooze? Let's play Ticket to Ride so we can still pay attention. If it's Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small, or Seven Wonders Duel, we're paying way too much attention to the game to find out if we have to scrape in the mornings or not.
So I've really enjoyed it, and I'm glad we added it to the collection.
Yep. Ben, you're number 13.
My number 13, and I'm going to go ahead, because I kind of forgot about this game, but I will give a quick honorable mention to My Father's Work.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the just kind of the worker placement, but the what I really liked on top of all of it was the app-driven story that can drive the game in a few different directions depending on the things that people do. I kind of messed up my only play of it because it's kind of funny. This comes full circle because he explained this mechanism as you can use this as a Splendor mechanism, but it bounced off of me because I hadn't played Splendor and didn't know.
Oh.
So I was doing really well on this one thing, but couldn't figure out why I wasn't progressing on this other thing, and it turned out that I wasn't playing that portion. I wouldn't say I wasn't playing it right, but not that I wasn't playing it wrong, but more of I wasn't utilizing its full capabilities.
That's fair.
But my number 13 is going to go to Cat in the Box, and I believe I introduced that one to you.
We played it at Geekway.
Oh, before you played it? That's right. And so...
But when we played it at Geekway, the guy boat raced us so hard, we were like, huh. Yeah.
Just, okay. But I kind of came to like trick-taking games. It's like I played Hearts. I think growing up, Hearts was always my favorite trick-taking game. But then, of course, The Crew comes out. And I remember teaching that to a full table of 5, and that being one of the most excruciating experiences for everyone because we could only get past the third, only up to like the third or fourth mission. But Cat in the Box, I love the change unconvention for it, where it's Schrodinger's cat themed, where all the cards you have are colorless, but you announce their color when you play it, and everyone else has to be able to follow suit. Then in the middle is how you actually track which card color combinations have been played. And as you go in through the round, you're placing out, you're filling out this grid, and next thing you know, I can't play a card because it no longer exists. And you, sir, have created a paradox and have ended the round a little bit early. Mm-hmm. And sadly, instead of winning any points for all of your tricks, you are now losing that many points. But then I love the puzzle bit with the board in the middle where you are trying to play your cards in a certain order because you want all your little bits next to each other. Because at the start of the round, you do guess how many tricks you're going to win. And if you're on that amount on the dot, you get extra points based on the largest grouping of your pieces on that little research board, as they call it. Very smart game. Didn't think my parents would like it much. After first round, they were immediately hooked on it, and we had to play multiple games of it.
Nice.
It is such a fun game, and I do love playing it. Just need to play it more, but sometimes because I like my heavier games, I like my long games, but Cat in the Box does just fit well to play through quick, and it feels good.
Nice.
My number 13 was designed by Miyuki Yokuchi, brought to the States by Bezier Games. It's Cat in the Box.
Yeah, that's why you grinned.
And
at
you're
me.
you're the reason why that I actually got it for my birthday from my uncle, but I was kind of keeping my eye out for when the reprint came through. Because, like I said, when we played it at Geekway, we got boat race through. He kicked our butts, and it was just the deal of that hand. Mm-hmm. You know, he went through because he was just playing a hand with each people to run them through the demos, and I get that.
Yeah.
And just at what we played, he was like, he had so many high numbers, and we had so many low numbers, and took trick, two trick, and he like had all the points, we had none. And we're like, well, at least we played Boob. But when you brought Cat in the Box, I think we played 2 games of Cat in the Box.
I think so.
At least 1, if not 2. We played some, and then somebody came in late, and some people had to leave.
That's right, yes.
And then you wanted to play 1 more before you had to go to your performance. We played it, you went on. Mm-hmm. And Cat in the Box is fantastic.
Oh, my gosh. And I love the minimalistic art. It's just, it is such a good game.
Well, and I like a card game that kind of does something different. Mm-hmm. I liked Tournament at Camelot because it was a trick-taking game where you didn't want to take tricks, because if you take the tricks, that's damage against you.
Yeah.
It was a flipping on its head. I loved the crew. I like a card style where you're playing card game.
Mm-hmm.
The Magic and Netrunner style card games, I usually don't care too much for those.
Yeah.
Because that's more you have to know all the card combos.
Yep.
And you have to get into the meta of the card game.
Totally.
And I don't care for the meta of a lot of the card games. Mm-hmm. Plus, a lot of those people seem to be super competitive. Not all, but quite a few of them. And it's also something that's not really big in our game group. There's some little rivalries here and there. But when somebody loses, there's nobody that's just a big jerk about it.
No.
You lose. Maybe you took one loss a little hard. You go home, you pout about it, and you come back next week.
That might be a story for another time between me, Nick, and Red Rising. If you were there, if you remember, and there for that one, because I remember Nick coming away thinking I hated him, and then I was talking to him the next later that weekend, and he was totally bewildered as to what happened.
That brings us to number 12. Ben, what is your number 12?
Number 12. I'm keeping it small. Actually going smaller than Cat in the Box.
Yeah.
This one, because it hits a little close to my heart. This one is going to be Jabba's Palace. A love letter game. So... I did like the love letter game, but sometimes it's a little small for my taste. I did really enjoy Cthulhu Letter or whatever it's called, because I did like that you had it expanded on it a little bit in that you had the normal cards and then the insanity cards, or I think it's the other half of the cards. It's been a while since I've played. But Jabba's Palace for me, because I grew up, even though I'm fairly young, I grew up watching the original trilogy. Mainly as a kid, I loved Return of the Jedi. And to get me a card game where it is set in Jabba's Palace, and I get to, just play cards, and it's really fun playing, what is it? It's like the number 1 and also number 4, which is in this game is I believe it's Boba Fett. Yeah. It's number 4 or 5 because I love guessing out of thin air what card somebody has and getting it right and watching them just be absolutely shocked that I got it first turn.
You sunk my battleship.
Yeah, and it's a funny feeling because everyone just starts hooting and hollering every time it happens, and it makes you feel good even though it was just sheer luck. But yes, number 12, Jabba's Palace.
My number 12 is not a small game. It is your number 1 game, Dead Reckoning. Ooh. John DeClaire firing on all cylinders. I do not care for Mystic Vale. Whenever I play Mystic Vale, it's a game that I want to like that I don't. It's deck building, and deck building I was already sour on. I've kind of softened over the years. The more deck builders and more different things they've done with deck building.
Yeah.
What's the other card crafter he has after Mystic Vale?
Which you have... Well, there are 2 others, technically, but the big one you're probably thinking of that I will introduce you to, if you ever want to, is Edge of Darkness.
Okay.
There was a trick-taking one, but that one was very limited release. I believe it was just 1 print, and you really can't find it anywhere else.
And then there's the Take That Gloom game where you're crafting their cards and putting stuff on their people.
Yeah.
Which is cute and fun for a game or two, but after that, that's as far as that goes.
For me, that Gloom's a party game for me because I like the storytelling of it and it gets people involved in it.
But I like this card crafting to make each card meaningful, and I want to see that card come back up. And when it does, even if it doesn't come in the right combo, it's still useful. Totally. I felt like a Mystic Veil, if it doesn't come up on the right combo, you can have this card and it's just like, I built it up and it's worthless. Not necessarily worthless, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I would say about Mystic Veil, it's very stripped down.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where its biggest fault in, because it was probably very much for John DeClaire, a kind of an experiment in it, but it's led to some much better games. Oh, yeah. But I enjoy Mystic Veil a lot just because sometimes you just you can't have steak every night. You got to go to McDonald's.
Well,
every once
and
in a while.
I don't think Mystic Vale's a bad game. I just recognize it's got a mechanic that I poo-poo already. Mm-hmm. And then it's got something tacked onto it that I'm just like, this is just kind of fluff on top of a thing I didn't care for.
Yeah.
If I like, lemon meringue pie just fine, but if you put meringue on just anything, I'm not going to think that it makes it better. No. But Dead Reckoning takes the exploration, which I do enjoy, takes the card crafting. The only thing that I'm just kind of on is the dice tower. It's cute, but it's a gimmick. When you throw the dice down there and they fiddle through, and it does the little combos.
Oh, yeah.
You could have done that in different ways. You could have just rolled frickin' dice for it. But it does look and help the table presence of the game. If you see people play Dead Reckoning, you see the ship, you go and walk over and see what they're playing. You just do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same reason why people go look at Scythe, the mechs. You see people playing on a big board with mechs. You're like, oh, what are they playing? You go see it.
Yeah.
As much as I say the game could be without the ship, if it wasn't there, the table presence would not be there.
No, totally not.
But Dead Reckoning is my number 12, which brings us to Andrea. What's your number 12?
My number 12 is also Ben's number 12, Jabba's Palace.
Yeah.
It's short, it's quick, it's Star Wars. We actually took it down to OzCon, which is a local convention down in West Plains, Missouri. And we did teaches. We set up a couple tables.
Yeah, we taught about 20 different people, and then we gave it away at the end of the day.
And
Nice.
Everyone that we taught it to, it's real quick to learn. You catch on real fast, and everyone loved it. And I think it'd be a great addition for anybody.
I think we help some people go out to the games. They have a bookstore. That is where a lot of people play games out there. Mm-hmm. I think it's called like the Book Nook or something like that. Okay. And one of the guys like, we don't really have successful, not a lot of people out. And then I was telling them like, hey, look at your, you guys have a game group. Sometimes it meets at Book Nook. And he came out to Moon City like the next Monday. He goes, hey, we had like 4 or 5 people come out to play some games. He's like, they're not, they don't know much more than Ticket to Ride, but it's a start.
Yeah.
That's not. Sometimes you have to suck up your pride and teach your people up. If you really want to play the Weather Machine, you might have to take the baby steps to get there.
I was going to say, they're just 2 steps away from Dead Reckoning.
Number 11. Ben, what is your number 11?
I am naming an actual expansion here because I know I kind of fiddled with it earlier with Root Marauder, but this one goes to my number 1 game, Tapestry, Arts and Architecture. I love Tapestry. I don't know what it was. Like, you see the buildings and you're putting on your map. Again, it's one of those things where you see those buildings and you just kind of want to take a look. But Arts and Architecture decided to add the one thing no one thought he would do. They added a 5th track to the game. And boy, does it slot in nicely. And now they also have a play mat where they actually just put it on already, so you don't have to set up the extra track. But Tapestry, Arts and Architecture, that's its main thing, is it just adds that 5th arts track, where instead of having a specific resource, it can be any resources you want to put into. Like any track, it's still got the 3 buildings that you can earn from it, but it starts to give you a little more in the way of income. And I forget what exactly they're called, but you can get these cards that can add to your income every round, so you're just getting more and more stuff. It is really a more stuff expansion. It doesn't change the rules, but just having that 5th track just opens up so many different possibilities. I think the first time I played it, I managed to max out on almost 3 different tracks, because if you can get your right cards at the right time, you can do almost anything with that, because it allows you, that arts track allows you to take a lot of extra stuff, and if you just want to burn a few resources just for that little extra income, it's almost worth it.
Right on. Andrew, your number 11.
My number 11 is Star Trek Pinball.
The Pinball 4K Star Trek.
Yeah. I'm sure you're thinking,
how do you play pinball as a board game? It's kind of like a roll and write. You roll the dice and you move your ball down different tracks. You get different points for different score. You fill up different areas. You've got some bonus, like you can get a bonus for double balls. So you've got 2 balls going at the same time, and everything you score is double points. It's really good. The art looks really good. It's nice and shiny. We've really enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, they've got one that's for lower decks. They've got one for the first, the classic Star Wars or Star Trek. They've got one R2-D2 and Picard. They get into a fight. No. They've got one that's got toasters and the Serenity and Data. They fly away.
Ignore him, listeners.
I think the Planet Express is in there somewhere too.
Yeah, good news.
Good news, everybody.
Picard's still alive. Oh, no, Super Skill Pinball 4K. Very fun game. We've got 3 of them. We still need to acquire the 4th.
I wasn't even aware there was a Star Trek or another one beyond that. I just remember the first one and
the first one.
Yes, Super Skill.
Star Trek is in the bag over there in the office.
Okay.
It was over there, but I think I've moved it to the office.
It is now not over there.
I was asked to straighten up a little bit, so I straightened up a little bit by moving the bag.
Okay.
And then there's another bag in the garage that has the Star Trek one. Mm-hmm. Because we have Ramp It Up, the regular one, Star Trek, and then there was a Christmas theme.
That's the one that I did not know of.
Yeah,
so.
That has Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation, and Elf. That one, because they had to pay for the license, only has 3 tables.
Makes sense.
All of them have two different double-sided boards.
Yeah, right. Cool.
Very fun. My number 11 is Ben's 5. It is Age of Atlantis, and I am so happy that you brought this. And
so glad
we did a catch-up day the day after Christmas, and I'm glad we did that.
Yes.
You know, I'm an idea person, not necessarily an execution person.
That was a good day.
Yeah, and I really want to do that each year, do a catch-up day. Not necessarily this late. Maybe we do that for Black Friday. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe, well, but you wanted to do Black Lung Friday, so I mean we can't.
Black Lung or Capitalism Friday? I don't care.
I think because I like your idea. I want to get more people involved in on that, not just us 5 this last time. Because I would love to just have more varied games. Because granted, playing the Iron Rail series front to back, and I know. Come on, Capstone. We know there's another one in there somewhere. Logan knows about it, but I want more. I want more of that. But that was such a fun. That was such a fun day on Black Friday to play through those. But that catch up day very much needed. And yes, I'm super glad you liked Age of Atlantis.
Age of Atlantis is fun, and I said this in my top 7 with Planet Unknown. I like a fun tech tree. Mm-hmm. And Age of Atlantis has the fun tech tree that the cube slides down, but the cube sliding down does 2 things. You didn't get to place another cube, which are some of your achievement goals, but then you did unlock something really, really good. Whenever you go gather, now you just get 5. Like, do I have to be in the building? No, whenever you gather, you just get 5.
And like I said,
So I have no reason to go to his building? Nope.
Nope. And like I said, it's at the end of the game, you feel like you did everything, but also you feel like it didn't do anything. Nothing.
Yeah, because I only had like 6 cubes on our board when we finished.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I'm supposed to have like 10, it says. Nope, game's over. I'm like, All right, I'll play this again. 11, Age of Atlantis, loved it. Andrea, your number 10.
My 10 is Planet Unknown, which made your top 7, actually.
My number 2.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed the mechanic of the spinning wheel with the Tetris pieces in the middle.
Yep.
It's like Ben was saying in our top 7, it can be a gateway game, or he has the Kickstarter version, which has heavier weight side to it for your heavier gamers. Yep. I think I enjoyed the gateway original that you have. It is...
it's something that it's easy enough anyone can understand. But like you're saying, the tech tree part of it is interesting for me because you get a lot of bonuses and it adds a little fun to it more than just the Tetris pieces on the planet that you're terraforming. So I've enjoyed it, not quite as much as you did, apparently.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it.
Patchwork.
Yeah.
And Patchwork has that placement aspect that Planet Unknown has, plus it adds a tech tree that I really like, and I just played it like, oh, this is good. I've got to have this. And then I immediately asked Meta, can you guys get it? Because I'll get the retail from you guys, but if you can't, please let me know. And they're like, no, we can get it. I'm like, okay. So
would you call it a tech tree, or I prefer to call it tech bamboo shoots? Just go
Hey,
straight up.
They do go straight up, but man, I that game.
It is. Yeah, definitely. It is a lot of fun, and I'm so glad I backed that one.
I am too. I need to. What game are we playing at Ben's birthday this year?
I know. Well, I mean, I've got a few months to plan that out, and maybe next time I won't have such a crazy schedule around.
No, have a crazy schedule. That's how we got to play this. Because you were like, hey, I wish you could have learned this game and this game and this game, but this was probably pretty easy. Boop. Yeah. And we played that because I think you had Lizard Wizard you weren't to play, and I think you played that after we left.
We did.
And then you wanted to play like three or four other games that sounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, I kind of want to get Coffee Traders played again, but
I wasn't gonna play it.
We've got 6 or 7. This will play 6.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that's your 10. My 10 is Foundations of Rome. This is by Emerson Matsuuchi. This is published by Arcane Wonders. This is the big cube of a game. It plays a little bit like Acquire to a point. There's some area control aspects, and as you put the buildings out, that's how you're going to get your income and your economy and your population. It's also got some buildings you're going to pop out for end-of-game scoring. It's also got some area control because it's one board that you're putting all your stuff on, and you're going to put little plots out there because you're going to draft the plots, and that's where you're going to potentially build your buildings. But then somebody can kind of strong arm you out of your plots if they can play right. Mm-hmm. It's a really fun game. It's not hard to learn, but it's one of those that, yeah, you could, if you're playing with all very experienced players, they could probably run you a little bit, but I think there's enough randomness in the tile draws that you still have a fighting chance. I really enjoy Foundations of Rome. Ben, your number 10.
My number 10, this one, probably, I don't think this is going to appear on any of the lists because I think I'm the only person who's played it, at least in our game group, because it's been, I don't think it's even out on wide release yet, Turing Machine. Oh. So I do love my deduction puzzles. Top game, one of my top games from 2021, especially its deduction puzzle aspect. Search for Planet X. Yeah. Fantastic game. Another game that I got Rick onto. Just, makes me feel good when he likes the games that I bring out.
Yeah.
But Turing Machine is another deduction game, but unlike Planet X, this one it's different, and it's really neat how it works. I'm impressed with the guys who designed this, because what you will do is in the rule book it has a few puzzles for you, but I believe there is a website or app that will generate new puzzles for you, and they can range on like a difficulty scale of like 1 to 6, something like that. I might be wrong, but what you'll do to set up is a rule book or app will tell you what clues or fact checks you want to put out. You then will look at all of that and try and determine what 3-digit code it is trying to convey to you. And then you have a card that has it looks like a grid of check marks and X's, green check marks and red X's. You're going to pick up 3 cards, and you're going to notice that they have all these hole punches. And you're going to line them up, this 3-digit code, and you're going to notice, and you'll check it against one of those, you'll check it against one of the clues. And when you look at your card, all the hole punches are going to line up to show exactly one check mark or X. and it will tell you if you are meeting the criteria for that clue, and it will guide you towards. Now the thing is this game is incredibly smart because you can easily guess some of these, especially if you get a little luck, because the numbers are only 1 through 5. But you can easily guess through these in 2 rounds. And it is a game that you will want to just keep playing over and over again, because unlike Search for Planet X, where Planet X is certainly a 60 to 90 minute group experience of trying to figure out the planets, this is cutthroat deduction, because someone just getting, someone reading those clues right, you can just get those, you can just get the one right number, and it's going to solve the entire thing for you. And because of how fast it can play, the tiebreaker is whoever used the least amount of clues to solve the puzzle. Can't wait to actually get my hands on that one, because I absolutely want to own it. And as a little nod to the game itself, the game box even tells you when it's oriented properly. And that fits my little fake OCD heart, because when you put the box in, the holes on one side will show green check marks, so you know that the box lid is oriented properly.
And this is designed by Fabian Gradell and Johan Levitt. I'm not familiar with their games.
No, I've not heard of it either, but just, you hear Turing Machine and you think of that Benedict Cumberbatch movie from years ago. I feel like for me, hearing any historical name pop up gets me intrigued, and then when I turn around to find out it's a deduction puzzle game, all of a sudden it has my brain firing on different cylinders, and I really, really enjoyed my plays at BGG Con, and I cannot wait to get my hands on a physical copy of it.
Right on. Brings us to 9. My number 9 is by Peter McPherson, the guy that designed Tiny Towns. It is Wormholes. I love Wormholes. I need to play it more, otherwise it would be up on my list a little bit more. Wormholes is pick up and deliver. You have a travel company going around the space. You start with a poor travel company that has no wormholes. So you start at the space station with a couple passengers, and you slowly start inching your way to a planet. And at the end of your turn, you can put down one of your wormholes. And you have to start with your 1s, and then you can go your 2s and your 3s. Once you put them down, it makes you getting back to the space station to get more passengers easier, which is nice. But at the same time, you're not the only one that can use your wormholes. Once you put it down, you've also made it easier for other people to travel to those planets. So it's pretty sweet. You get a victory point or a coin whenever they do that, which is nice. But they could be taking like 3 passengers to the planet you just went to, and they could be making a lot of money. So yeah, you get to ride. They're riding your coattails to get way more than what you got. But then hopefully later in the game, you could do the same thing to them. Really enjoy it. Need to play it more. We played it base. Yes, absolutely, we want to upgrade the ship tokens. You got me a bag of ships to put in there, which we can spray paint, which are nice. But then we started seeing 3D prints of Planet Express ship, and you're like, we'll use those for now, but we might upgrade again. Which I agree, we might upgrade again, but Wormholes is something I would absolutely like to play more of.
Fantastic.
Ben, your number 9.
My number 9. This one I got also pretty recently, but somehow managed to play it 4 or 5 times within a span of a month and a half. We were talking about Bear Raid. I sort of recently really wanted a stock market manipulation game. I played Haben Gut with Rick over here. First time I did that was a year ago for his birthday, and I enjoyed it, but I feel like I just kind of forgot my experience because it was the only market manipulation game I had played since. And I remember watching, it was Heavy Cardboard play this, and I was like, I want that game. I don't care if I haven't played it. I want it.
Yeah.
It is a cutthroat market manipulation game. It plays 3 to 6 players. You have a number of companies, and they're all little tongue-in-cheek companies, paying homage to other real-world companies, like Nile is referring to Amazon, or Banana referring to Apple, things like that. Or my favorite, GameStart. And so you have a number of companies equal to the number of players, and they all have these events, and you can see the current and one of the upcoming events. and you have dice that will randomly determine how those events play out. But you get a little bit control over that because you can kind of take those dice and put them into the bag to try and influence how those events potentially play out. I remember in regards to what you mentioned, a story about Catherine and her having AP in Queen's Garden. We had someone who was secretly hoarding all of the red dice, and it took us a little too long to figure out it was Craig. And there was a moment where Catherine just sat there and just could not figure out what to do. And they even give you a pass action. You are allowed to pass in that game, but almost no one wants to because it feels bad to pass.
Yeah.
And so she sat there groaning for about 4 or 5 minutes, just going, "No, this is bad. I can't do that. Wait, maybe I'll do this. No, I can't. Fine, I'll do this. Maybe this will work out." It is a game that it can. For the first few games that I played of it, we did have someone score in the negatives. But the thing is that anyone who scored in the negatives has never felt bad about it, because at the very least they've seen where things went wrong, because some of that stuff is entirely out of your control, because you can short stock. And when you start doing that, sometimes those shorts get a little out of hand, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Just like real life.
Yep. Well,
shorts can get out of hand.
So yes, my number 9 is Bear Raid. I love that game.
Andrea, your number 9.
My number 9 is Unmatched T.rex versus Sattler.
Yeah.
We have several of the Unmatched games, probably not as many as Ben has.
I think I have all of them. Yeah.
Oh, nice. We played it. I was a T.rex, you were Sattler, and I stomped the humans.
We played both sides.
Yeah.
I
only remember
me, and I couldn't get her out of there. And you, like, Ian Malcolm was just in the way.
As he is.
Yeah.
I only remember the one I won.
Life.
And then with the T-Rex, we started with me as T-Rex, but I read I was not maneuvering the T-Rex. I took her as, since she was covering 2 spaces, I had to move before I could turn. Because theoretically, in my head, that's the way it should be.
Sure. Yeah.
It's that big of a figure.
Yeah.
And then we were reading some FAQs. No, you can turn right around. Like, that would have made my T-Rex so much faster. And I nerfed my own T-Rex. I mean, I got a freaking T-Rex. You better use it.
I mean, that T-Rex, she can attack up to 2 spaces away.
Yes.
And she's still considered a melee fighter.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, actually.
Yeah. But yes. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's great. And the T.rex looks really good when you're playing. It's really impressive.
Yeah, Seth over at Meta, he still wants to play it, and I'm just kind of waiting on getting my storage boxes for those, because
I'll just pop out T-Rex versus Sattler.
Yeah, there you go.
Just give the most impressive figure first.
Yeah, I mean, I did show it to him, and he was just like, oh.
And that's without it painted.
Yeah.
Just the miniature itself, without painting, just gray, looks really awesome.
Yeah, I know.
She does.
That brings us to the 8. I was going to have us re-roll, but we'll keep the roll from last time. My number 8 is Endless Winter. This is the other game we played through our catch-up day. Glad we did. Endless Winter is a group of a whole bunch of mini games. You're stacking little tiles here. You're going up little tracks over here. You're doing a little set collection on your board. You're trying to get your peoples out. You're playing area control over there with villages and tents. It's fun. Everything's fun. I need if I played it more, maybe it would have been higher on my list. But for the play we had, I really enjoyed it. We played it at 3.
Yeah.
And glad we played it. Fantastic game. 2 or 3 more plays maybe makes my collection. But at this point, it wouldn't make my collection.
Yeah. And I think I'd name that one as an honorable mention as well. If only for me, because at the time when that one was... Because I think that one kickstarted in 2020. And of course, what are the 2... It was projected, I think, to come out in 2021. And what were the 2 other games that kind of fit that deck building niche that year? Dune Imperium, which I despise, and Lost Ruins of Arnak, which I have played. And it's sad that I don't like Dune Imperium, because I love the Dune books, and I love the original Dune game, and I know that might be a controversial statement, because it's still an old school game, even with its Gale Force 9 printing. I just couldn't get into Dune
There's
Imperium.
a lot of people in our group that like it because it's got that area control, it's got that fighty, and it's got that. Everybody's got a cool power.
Yeah, I just couldn't get into it. For me, it just didn't feel like Dune, and so I was hesitant to play Endless Winter because it just seemed like another deck builder. But one thing I will praise for Dune Imperium and for Endless Winter, I did like the mechanic that the cards you keep are also just as important as the cards you keep in hand are just as important as the cards you play. I will say that was smart on Dune Imperium side. I just didn't like the rest of the game, but I liked that part when it came to Endless Winter as well.
Alrighty. What is your number 8, Mr. Ben?
All right, probably to no one's surprise that this one is showing up because this is the third time it's getting mentioned. I think it's the only one that's going to get mentioned a third time.
Yeah.
Planet Unknown. What else can be said about it? I had it up a little higher, but then I had to swap a few things around because
I looked at your list. I don't think you should have.
I played a lot of games. I've played over 100 different games in 2022. So it's a little hard. So to search through all the games that were 2022 published is also a little bit hard. But Planet Unknown, what else can be said? You know, tile puzzle, tech tree, tech bamboo shoots, as I said earlier. It just such a satisfying game to play, especially when you fill out your planet and you feel like you're super accomplished when you did it. And like I said, for me, I love playing the backside because I do love that little extra challenge.
And it can do that same thing you talked about with Age of Atlantis, where somebody ends the game way before you thought it should end. You look at your board and you're like, I don't feel like I explored any of this.
Yeah.
You're like, do I have rows or columns? A couple.
And maybe a few. Yeah, or at
No,
least...
I don't. There's an asteroid right there. I didn't explore nothing.
I feel like with Age of Atlantis, you can kind of see the game ending. It still takes you by surprise a little bit. But Planet Unknown, it can just be like someone's just like, nope, it's over. And you're what? I want to place 2 or 3 more things. I had this all plotted out.
Andrea, you're number 8.
My number 8 is Boop.
Aww.
I was enamored with Boop when we were at Geekway, and we walked by, and I was like, "What is this?" It's like you said, you start out with kittens on a bed, and every time a kitten jumps on the bed, they bounce the other kittens away. How that's fun, right? And if you can get 3 of your kittens in a row, tic-tac-toe style, they become you get 3 adult cats, and when the big cats jump on the bed, they bounce the kittens away, but they don't bounce the other big cats away.
The kittens don't bounce the big
The
cats.
kittens don't bounce the big cats
bounce
away.
the big
cats.
The big cats can bounce the other cats. And whoever gets 3 adult cats in a row wins the game. But it's adorable. It's cute. It's quick. There's a puzzle there to figure out, and it's fun to do your own sound effects while you're playing. Meow. As they go off the bed. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, 2022 was a very good year for games. So many good games came out this year, and maybe there wasn't that huge one that everybody thought was the There might not be an evergreen that's going to reprint every year, but there were so many games, and it seems like everybody's list is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And almost every list I've seen on YouTube or listened to podcasts or even our friends groups, I would play most of the games on anybody's lists, and some of them wouldn't make mine at all.
Yeah.
And I would still enjoy it. It's not, I would just have one more honorable mention to throw out there is Gift of Tulips. We played this at Geekmas. It's a small little box game, and it's got a tulip market. You're playing... Whenever you draw 2 cards. You can play one to your hand or you can play one to the markets. And as you're playing tulips to the markets, you make some of the colored tulips worth more and some of them devalue. And then you put some in your own pile to score later. And it's market manipulation, but it's such a light game that even non-gamers can play it. And it's a cute little game.
Yeah.
Nice.
But 2022, great games. Ben, once again, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And we will see you next month when we talk about 2-player games. But until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.
The 417 Gamer podcast is recorded and produced by Rick Bagwell and Andrea Smith. We want to say thank you to guest host Ben for coming on and doing the top 14 through 8 games of 2022. Our intro and outro music, Kind, Gentle, Beautiful Person, and Making Up for Lost Time, was by Origami Replica. For show notes and more, head on over to our Facebook page hosted by the Hobby Gaming Network, or check show notes on our YouTube page, 417 Gamers. We'll see you next time. Keep gaming in the 417.